had been married for 14 years. No kids, just us. We met at a friend's house party back when I was 26 and she was 24. She laughed at my bad jokes. I liked the way she didn't try too hard to impress anyone. We got married 2 years later. That made us 28 and 26 on our wedding day. It was a small ceremony, backyard reception at my parents' place. I thought we had a solid thing going. We bought a house together 5 years in. We talked about kids early on, but never pulled the trigger. She wasn't ready. Then it was maybe next year. Then we just stopped talking about it. I figured we would get there eventually. I work as an equipment technician for a manufacturing company in Virginia, 12 years at the same plant. I calibrate machines, run diagnostics, fix what breaks. I make about $55,000 a year. My wife worked as an insurance claims manager. She started as a junior adjuster right out of college and worked her way up over the next decade and a half. She pulled in just over 115. I never had a problem with her making more than me. Some guys let that eat at them. I never did. We split bills proportionally, and it worked fine. She handled more of the mortgage. I covered utilities and groceries. We had separate accounts, but shared one for household expenses. She also had $40,000 in student loans she has been chipping away at since before we met. That was her thing. I never asked her about it. All that time, I thought we had something solid. Then the cracks started showing. The first sign showed up about 4 months before that Sunday. She started guarding her phone like it was classified intel. The phone screen was always face down, her notifications silenced. If I walked into the room while she was texting, she would turn off her screen. I noticed it quite a few times, but I didn't say anything. She would take calls in the garage and claimed it was work stuff. I would hear her laughing out there. It kind of sounded like it was flirty in a sense. Maybe I was being paranoid. After all those years together, you would think I would have earned some trust. Then the work conferences started. One weekend in Norfolk, another in Virginia Beach, then Richmond, always somewhere that required an overnight stay. And it was always on the weekends. I worked Monday through Friday, so I was home alone every time. She never invited me to come along, said they were boring corporate things. She said I wouldn't enjoy them, which in turn made me suspicious, so I checked. I logged into our phone carrier account one night. We've had this plan for years, both our numbers on the same bill. I never looked at her call logs before. I didn't feel like I needed to. That night, I did. I pulled up her call and text logs from the past 4 months. 847 texts to one number, 94 calls. Some of those calls lasted over an hour. That number wasn't saved in her phone under any name I recognized. I cross-checked it against her contacts when she was in the shower. Not there. She had it memorized, but never saved. So, that let me know she was hiding something. I wrote the number down on a napkin and stuck it in my wallet. I sat at the kitchen table that night in a daze. The refrigerator hummed. The faucet dripped every few seconds. I didn't sleep well. The dog next door started barking at 6 a.m. I was already awake anyway. The next morning, I made a decision. Before heading to the private investigator's office, I stopped by the bank and pulled out some cash. I drove to the private investigator's office I found online. Guy worked out of a small building, plain brick front, no flashy sign, just a door with his name on it. I walked in and told him I needed someone followed. He didn't flinch, just looked up at me, said he has heard it all before, asked me a few questions. How long had I had suspected something? Did I have any names or locations? Did she have any routines I could share? I told him everything I knew, the phone behavior, the weekend trips, the number with 800 texts. He took notes. I paid a $3,000 retainer in cash. I told him my wife was leaving for a work conference in Richmond that evening. I gave him her car details, blue Ford Taurus, Virginia plates. He said he would follow her the whole weekend and report back with photos and a written summary. He said he would text me updates in real time and we would meet Sunday morning for the full debrief. I shook his hand and left, stopped at a gas station on the way home. I stopped for a coffee and I didn't even finish. I was so nervous, I was having heart palpitations. I got home around noon. She was still at work. That evening, it was mid-July and the heat was brutal. She packed her overnight bag like usual. Same routine, same rehearsed energy. She kissed me, said she would be back Sunday evening, said to call if I needed anything. I watched her blue Taurus pull out of the driveway at 6:15 p.m. The private investigator was already on her tail. I didn't know where he was parked. That night, I sat in the living room folding laundry at around 9:30 at night. Her clothes were still mixed in with mine. I folded them anyway. Felt strange doing it, knowing what I knew. I couldn't focus on anything else. My phone buzzed around 9:45. Text from the private investigator. Subject checked into Embassy Suites in Richmond. Not alone. Male companion. Will confirm identity and send photos. My heart started beating faster, but I wasn't surprised. Part of me already knew. Seeing it confirmed just made it real. A few minutes later, another text came through. 3 photos attached. My wife and a man walking into the hotel together, her arm around his waist, him holding the door open for her. They were not being careful. They looked comfortable, like they had done this 1,000 times before. I sat there for another 20 minutes or so, staring at the wall. I didn't cry. I didn't punch a wall. I just sat there, thinking. Saturday, I stayed home. The private investigator texted me again a little after 10 p.m. He sent more photos. My wife and the same man at dinner at some upscale place. Candles on the table. He had a wine glass raised, so did she. I didn't think anything of it at the time. She was laughing in one of the shots. It looked to be that same flirty laugh I'd heard through the garage door. They looked like a couple, because they were. Sunday morning, I met the private investigator at a diner. He held up a folder and gave it to me without a word. I opened it. Inside were all the photos from the weekend. Friday night at the hotel, Saturday night at dinner, timestamps on every image. Then he showed me the license plate info. The guy drove a black Ford Expedition. The PI ran the plates and got a name. Her boss, regional claims director, 51 years old and married, 2 kids in high school. I sat there staring at his home address written on a sticky note. The private investigator asked if I wanted him to keep following them. I told him to wrap it up. I had what I needed. He handed me a USB drive with all the photos and a written report with timestamps. Chain of evidence, he called it. Admissible in court if I needed it. I thanked him and walked out. Sat in my car for about 15 minutes before starting the engine. That afternoon, I went home and pulled up our credit card statement, something I hadn't done in months. She usually handled the bills. I scrolled through the charges. Most of it was normal. Groceries, gas, that $347 car payment. Then I saw it. K Jewelers, $1,247. 3 weeks ago, she didn't give me any jewelry. My birthday wasn't for another 6 months. Our anniversary had already passed. That charge wasn't for me. I wrote it down and added it to the folder. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I found the boss's wife on social media. I typed in his name and she came up. Her profile was mostly photos of their kids and family vacations, soccer games, beach trips, normal stuff. She looked happy. Probably thought her marriage was solid too. I sent her a message. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk. It's about your husband and my wife. She didn't respond right away. I figured she would ignore me. Probably thought I was some scammer. But she responded within an hour. Call me. She included her number. We got on a phone call at 2 p.m. while my wife was driving back from a romantic weekend. The boss's wife already had suspicions. She found receipts for hotel rooms that were not for her, and her husband had been wearing a new watch lately. He wouldn't say where he got it. She has been sitting on it for weeks, hoping she was wrong, hoping there was some explanation that made sense. There wasn't. I told her about the private investigator, showed her the photos over text, walked her through the 800 texts and 94 calls, mentioned the K Jewelers charge on my wife's card, $1,247. She got quiet for a long time. Then she said that was about what a nice watch costs. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Then she said something that knocked the wind out of me. She's pregnant. I asked her what she meant. She said she found a pregnancy test in her husband's car 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't hers. It was positive, tucked under the passenger seat like someone tried to hide it. She assumed it was a mistake, something old, something explainable, but now it made sense. My wife was pregnant, and it wasn't mine. We hadn't been intimate in over 4 months. She has been making excuses, headaches, stress from work, too tired, not in the mood. I stopped asking after a while, figured we were just in a dry spell. Some couples go through that. Now I knew why. She was getting it somewhere else, and now she was carrying his baby. The boss's wife and I talked for another hour. She was devastated. 22 years of marriage and 2 kids, all of it about to implode because her husband couldn't keep it in his pants. But she was also angry, not at me, but them. We agreed to blow the whole thing up together. She would handle her husband, confront him that night when he got back. I would handle my wife, and we would both send the evidence to HR at the insurance company. Separate emails, same photos, same report. Let them deal with the fallout. I thanked her and hung up. Then I sat at the kitchen table and waited. I didn't turn on the TV, didn't make dinner, just sat there with the folder in front of me. She came through that squeaky front door at 6:30 p.m., glowing like she just had the best weekend of her life, completely unaware that her entire life was about to collapse. She said hi like nothing was wrong, asked if I wanted to order takeout. I didn't say a word at first, just pointed at the chair across from me. She sat down, confused, asked what was going on. I slid the folder over to her as she was sitting down. She opened it. Her eyes got wide and she put her hands over her mouth. Photos of her and her boss at the hotel. Photos of them at dinner. The phone records with text and calls highlighted. The credit card statement with the jewelry charge circled. The PI's written report with timestamps and license plate info. She tried to explain. She said they were just friends offering support to each other. She told me they got close at work and it was innocent. She said it started as venting about stress and turned into something she didn't mean to let happen. I let her talk. I didn't interrupt. I didn't raise my voice. Just sat there and listened to her dig her own grave. When she finished, I asked her one question. I asked if her friends get pregnant together. She froze. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I told her I talked to his wife. I told her I knew everything. Told her I knew about the pregnancy test in his car. She started crying, kept saying she was sorry, that she didn't know how it happened. I told her I didn't care how it happened. I wanted a divorce. I told her I think you should pack a bag and leave. She asked where she was supposed to go. I said that wasn't my problem anymore. She begged me to give her a chance to explain. I told her 847 texts was her explanation. 94 calls were her explanation. A baby that wasn't mine was her explanation. She left that night, took one suitcase and her purse. I don't know where she went that night. The next morning, she texted me. She stayed at her aunt's place until we figured things out. She wouldn't come back without my permission. She probably thought giving me space would help her case. It didn't. It just made it easier. I called a locksmith that afternoon. He charged me $180 and didn't ask questions. I filed for divorce that same week, found a family law attorney who specialized in fault-based cases. She charged me $300 an hour, but said this wouldn't take long. Virginia is a fault state. Adultery matters here. You can file for divorce on grounds of adultery if you have proof. I had photos, phone records, credit card statements, and a private investigator's report. My lawyer said it was one of the cleanest adultery cases she has seen in years. She smiled when she saw the folder, since it was labeled Private Investigator's Report. She said most people come in with suspicions with no proof. I came in with the prosecution. She filed the paperwork within 48 hours. That same week, the boss's wife and I both submitted the private investigator's evidence to the insurance company's HR department. Separate emails, same attachments, same report. I didn't coordinate the wording with her. We just agreed to send it at the same time. The company launched an internal investigation within days. A manager sleeping with her direct supervisor is a policy violation, a liability nightmare. It creates questions about promotions, favoritism, and workplace ethics. HR doesn't play around with that stuff. Within a month, she was terminated. She walked out of the building with her box of things. A decade and a half at that company, gone in an afternoon. She found a new job a few weeks later. Another insurance company, but entry level, less than half what she used to make. Her boss got demoted and transferred to a satellite office in another state. His wife filed for divorce the same week I did. She wasn't playing around either. Now, here's where the karma really hit. My wife made over $115 a year. I made $55. In Virginia, spousal support considers income disparity and fault. If one spouse earns significantly more and the other spouse didn't cause the breakdown of their marriage, the lower earner can receive alimony. She committed adultery. She was the higher earner. She destroyed the marriage. My lawyer pushed for spousal support and won. The judge didn't hesitate. Even though she had taken a pay cut, the court calculated alimony based on her earning potential. She had the skills and experience to make $115. The fact that she torched her own career didn't mean I should suffer for it. She now pays me $1,400 a month in alimony, deposited on the first of every month like clockwork. She fought it. Her lawyer tried to argue that I should have worked things out, that the marriage could have been saved, that I acted too fast. The judge didn't buy it. 847 texts, 94 calls, a pregnancy that wasn't mine, photos of them at a hotel, a jewelry charge that wasn't for me. That's not a mistake. That's not a rough patch. That's a pattern. That's a choice. The divorce finalized 7 months later. She wanted out fast. Her lawyer proposed a deal. She signs over her equity in the house in exchange for a lawyer alimony payment. My lawyer said, take it. I refinanced the mortgage in my name only. She walked away with her car, her student loans, and her mistakes, and the baby. She gave birth 5 months after the divorce was final. A little boy, the boss's kid. He didn't stick around. His ex-wife took him for everything in their divorce. 22 years of marriage, and he threw it away for my wife. Now he was paying the price. He lost a house, lost half his retirement, got demoted, and shipped off to some satellite office. My ex went after him for child support. DNA test confirmed what everyone already knew. The court ordered him to pay. So now he's paying child support to 2 households. His own kids barely talk to him, paying alimony to his ex-wife on top of that. Last I heard, he's renting a 1-bedroom apartment somewhere out of state, working a job that pays half what he used to make, and my ex is raising his baby alone while he dodges her calls. My ex reached out once, about 6 months after the baby was born. She sent me a long text, told me she made a mistake, that she missed what we had, that she didn't realize how good we had it until it was gone. She asked if there was any chance we could try again. I read it twice, then I deleted it. I didn't respond. Some doors don't get reopened. Some bridges stay collapsed. These days, life is quieter. I still work the same job, still drive the same truck, still live in the same house, but the energy is different now. No more walking on eggshells, no more wondering why she's guarding her phone. The fake conferences and weekend lies were over. I wasn't coming home to someone who was only half there anymore. I get that $1,400 deposit every month. She is paying alimony to me for 4 years. I put most of it into savings. Maybe I'll take a trip somewhere. Could finally fix that dripping kitchen faucet, or just let the money sit. Either way, it's mine. She traded a stable marriage for a man who didn't even fight for her when it all fell apart. She lost her job, her home, her income, and her dignity. And now she writes me a check every month while raising another man's child alone, a man who won't even return her calls. I didn't plan for this to be my story, but I'm not mad about how it ended. Sometimes karma doesn't need your help. Sometimes you just have to get out of the way and let it do its thing.